Nigerian parents will embarrass you before they educate you. It's embarrass first, think later. And the reality is that most of us grew up with emotionally unstable or just emotionally immature parents. Welcome to another episode of Face Mask and Ameboooo. I asked you guys to choose between Nigerian parents or friendships, and you guys are like, talk about Nigerian parents. Talk about Nigerian parents. And I said, okay, I've got your back. If you do not know me, hi, my name is Ada, and I like to yap. I like to yap and tell stories about my experiences and the crazy things that I've done. I also like to do my skincare while I do it. To be very honest with you guys, I did not know where I wanted to start. Let's start off with the videos that I've seen recently that had me thinking a lot about Nigerian parents, apart from like my own experiences. Okay, imagine this, because I'm always giving you guys something to imagine. You are in an hotel room, there's a chance you were there with a man, and then your mother finds out that you went to hotel. You went to go and lodge in an hotel at your age. Mind you, you are over the age of 18. In most countries, you would be considered an adult. And what is our next course of action, you ask? Embarrassment. Say it with me, embarrassment. Okay. Our siblings snitched on her, which was so irritating to me. I hate siblings who don't have a backbone. They're just out here supporting mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy. Maybe because I'm a firstborn, I really don't give a shit. But like, luckily, the person she was with was not in the hotel room at that particular moment in time. God saved that babe. That babe got done chop slap because the way they were slapping this girl. And the mom's like, you're in an hotel. Why do you want to be in an hotel? Can you go? I get it. You don't want your child to be in an hotel room. Like, what is she doing? Is she having sex? And that is like a different conversation that we want to have with African parents. But the way everything is so sexual to them, like they're so scared of you having sexual encounters. I would say African parents a lot, but honestly, I'm drawing my inspiration from Nigerian parents and a few other parents that I have the opportunity to be around. Why are we not having conversations about important things to protect the children? They don't want to think about the fact that you are in any way, shape, or form engaging in coitus. They don't want to hear it, and like, that's fine. I get it. You're a parent. I don't want to hear my parents doing things either. Like in my head, my mother and my father, they just thought about me, and I came into existence. Nothing happened. Nothing. In that moment, I know that she was thinking like, oh my God, my daughter is busy doing weird things in a hotel. She was just like embarrassing her. She was like, let's go, pack up your bags and let's go. And her daughter was laughing nervously. She was like, mommy, like, she didn't know what to do, because what should she do? Her mother starts slapping her, and that was when I lost my shit. I was just like, oh my God, here we go. I can't imagine my mom hitting me at this age. I wouldn't hit my mom, but I would never speak to her again. Any form of physical abuse towards your children because you think you're training them is crazy to me. This is not the fucking military. And the mom is like, I'm your best friend. I'm your best friend. I'm your best friend, and I don't even know where you are. Are you her best friend? She saw Pringles on the table, and she's like, you want Jet Pringles? Hits the Pringles on her head. She's like, you want Jet Pringles? You want Jet Pringles? And her daughter is like, oh, mommy, I just wanted to rest. This was like, you are in an hotel. You want to rest in an hotel? Huh? So many things have been sexualized, specifically for women in this, our patriarchal, okay, that word is complicated, society of patriarchy that we live in. A lot of the times, boys are lodging, going to shortless apartments and doing all of these things, and like, it's normal for them. Once it's your girl child, they're thinking, no, you cannot do this, you cannot. Why is it that African parents, they just want to be embarrassing you? Embarrassment, they see it as a form of punishment. It is usually the girl child. None of my male cousins, I promise you, none of them have ever had this conversation. Me, on the other hand, I've been embarrassed. I've been slapped in public, in church. When my mom found out I had a boyfriend, hey, if you want the story time, it's already on my TikTok. Like, I understood where she was coming from. The guy was literally like 17, and I was like 12, 13, 13 years old. So it was a strange situation. Like, I get it, but why are you embarrassing? She came to my school and she embarrassed the fuck out of me. She just thought that her embarrassing me and having the whole school talking about me will stop me from doing this. It did not. I would have appreciated it if my mom had had a conversation with me and left it at that and told me why this relationship was something that should not be happening. My question is always, why are we not choosing education over all of these things? And do you know what? A lot of times parents don't even know better. And sometimes they don't even want to know better. When she said, I'm your best friend, I'm like, oh my God. Parents sometimes have a very delusional description of the relationship that you guys have. They think that you guys have the best relationship, but they forget that they just instilled fear in you. The relationship that you guys have is for them, it's a loving, I don't know, it's a whatever perfect relationship. But for you, it's more like survival. It's more like a responsibility. You know, I'm not talking about this girl and her mother specifically, because they might have a really good relationship. You know, and coming back to Nigeria, guys, I'm about to expose myself. But coming back to Nigeria, it has been difficult, you know, like having this relationship again with my parents. First of all, I don't really really have a relationship with my dad, but my mom is the person that I lived with. Because you know what, yeah, I feel like it's very, very interesting, like the dynamic that I have with my mom now. So interesting, because I think I was a child and I was coming from a place of surviving, and I was such a people pleaser. If you guys want me to talk about people pleasing, let me know. I was such a people pleaser, and it started from home, because I knew that if I was on my best behavior, even if it was hurting me, even if I really wanted to speak up about something that was hurting me, there would be peace. But I am an adult now and I have a mouth and I can speak for myself. With me being able to speak, it's very uncomfortable, because when you go from a child that did everything that they wanted you to do, I was rebelling, but I was only caught a few times. Any child that has grown up with strict or sometimes crazy parents, you know that they don't teach you to stop doing those things. They teach you how to hide things better. If you understand what I'm saying, do this in the comments. Going from a kid who was barely speaking to now being an adult who is speaking a lot, I'm a feminist to the core. I tell them, you're being misogynistic a little bit. That's a very sexist comment you're making right there. Are you sure you don't hate women as a woman? That's how I am with my family, like extended and nuclear. And it's very, very uncomfortable. You know, my mom, every time something happens, and I'm not trying to shade my mom, I'm not trying to insult my mom, I do love my mom. I protect her. Don't chat shit about my mother. Now that I speak up, I think the relationship with my mom, it's suffering a little bit because she cannot understand that. And she always goes back to the same statement. You were not like this when you were growing up. And now I feel like some sort of a fucking villain. Mind you, I'm a firstborn. It is my duty to break this generational curses and cycles. And I take my duty very seriously. Again, the point I'm trying to make, that parents have a different idea. They have a different idea of what the relationship is. I love my mother. I'm very much inspired by my mom. I think my mom is a very strong woman, and I know that their parents do what they can with what they know. And to her, we had an amazing relationship, and we did have a good relationship as mother and daughter. Parents forget that there's a power imbalance here. I don't even know if they're aware of the power imbalance. When there's a parent and a child, there's not the power is not equal. You're a parent, you are in charge. So there's a power imbalance, which means that the nature of the relationship in and of itself, due to the power imbalance, you need to question. You need to deeply look at the nature of the relationship before you make any conclusions as to what the relationship. Do you guys get my point? Number 3 is, a lot of times Nigerian parents, they forget that you have your own life and you have your own experiences. And unfortunately, no matter how much they try to protect you or just stop you from embarrassing the family, because a lot of them, it's not protection. It's not fear. They're just like, don't embarrass me, or don't shame me, or don't let my people say that I don't know how to raise a child. Parents sometimes forget that you have your own experiences. Regardless of if they think a decision that you're making is right or wrong, you have to live your own life and have your own experiences, whether good or bad, in order to be able to live. Living is quite literally having your own experiences, and a lot of times parents try to control that experience or control those experiences. And this is where sometimes I'm like, oh my god, African parents sometimes act like mini gods. Even though they use God to justify a lot of the things that they do, they want to control every single part of the things that you are doing. Okay, don't do this, do this, do this, do this. And there are some parents who think that if you do not follow every single step that they are giving to you, your life will end up in jeopardy. You are a failure. You can never make it. And to think you have that much control over another human being is to consider yourself some sort of god. I have only 64 gig. I can only talk so much. Let's go into the next video that I saw. This is also related to them forgetting that you are a separate human being outside of them. You are an extension of them, but you're not a carbon copy of them. So this girl went to go and get her hair done. She was going to get this beautiful braids. She had, I think it was boho braids. So the one that you put some curly. The color of the hair wasn't bright. It was like wine-ish. I will put the screenshots, right? The moment she got home, my parents said, hello, go and remove that hair. It's disgusting. They did not say disgusting. They said she should go take off the hair. The hair is too shiny. So she had to remove the curls of her hair. And there were people in the comment section like saying different things. And first of all, before I even go into the comment section, I just want to say, as an African child, you must rebel. And rebellion does not mean that you're doing crazy things like you're stealing their money or you're doing drugs. You must stand up for yourself. You quite literally have to parent your parents by allowing them to understand that the fact that you like something does not mean that they cannot hate it. You can hate it, but I like it, and we can coexist. Say it with me, parents. We can coexist because that is what the world is. You are an extension of them. You come from them, but you are not them. And they forget that so many times. The same thing with my mom. I remember I was triggered. It was my 20th birthday. I dyed my hair. blonde. I was so excited. I showed my mom, and my mom is like, I don't like it. It's not really nice. It's not good. Like, she just had so many things to say. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not going to change it now. The one that irritated me the most was she eventually told me that, yes, and your brother thinks it's disgusting. My brother that I'm 10 years older than, why are you giving my brother the audacity to talk to me and tell me that the hair that I have on my head is disgusting? If you do your hair and you look good and you love your hair, and then you go show your friend and your friend tells you, I don't like this hair is disgusting, won't you stop being friends with that person because that person, number one, hates you? Wouldn't you question that friendship? Like, why would you say something that makes me happy is disgusting? Mind you, the thing does not make you look ugly. Your friend just doesn't like that thing. So why is it that when it's a parent, we cannot question it? But they're still your parents. They're still your parents. We know that. Can you please shut the fuck? Can you please put your mouth in the corner? Can you please throw your mouth away? I can't. Wait, let me go and wash my face before we continue this conversation. Sometimes I just feel like they are unnecessary haters. There's never like a reason why they dislike something. For example, the girl that got her hair done and she had these curls. What was wrong with the curls? What could have been wrong with the curls? Sometimes they don't even have a reason. They just need to exert that power. They need to show you that they have that power. With Nigerian parents, it's just a lot. Like, I could go on and on and on, and we would have still not covered all the things that we needed to cover. Genuinely, I'm disgusted by parents who use the fact that they feed you, they clothe you, they take you to school, they do this, they do that. That is a responsibility. Yeah, just in case you've forgotten. And I can understand why some people say things like, but your parents are still your parents. And the people who are clothing you, feeding you, and providing you with the basic necessities, they are also the people that are traumatizing you. So I'm sure it's very hard for you to come to terms with that in your head. And I took a test. I took like an attachment style test online. Okay, this is not a professional test. I took a bunch of tests online. I was like, what is my attachment style? My attachment style is disorganized, which means I'm hot one time, I'm cold one time. I don't want people, but I want people. I'm just a very confusing person. And I know that that is the reality because that is literally how I grew up. And I am literally a testament of my environment. Back to the point, the people who are taking care of you and giving you everything that you need to survive, when those people are also the same people that are inflicting any form of pain onto you, it is a very complicated relationship. It's easy to hate an absent father. It's easy to hate a father that just does not, harder to hate someone who is present but causing pain. You get my point? Yeah. I feel like I've talked a lot and I've forgotten some of the points that I wanted to make today. I hate when people try to use the justification of that's still your father and that's still your mother. We know, biologically speaking, we cannot change who birthed us. And I'm talking about the nature of the relationship. I'm not talking about the biological aspects of things. That cannot be your only justification to every single thing that I had just said. To see the way these things have affected me or the way they've played out in my relationships and a lot of things, it's very crazy to me. And I grew up in a very crazy, chaotic space. A lot of times I scream and I shout because that was always the first response to things in the space that I grew up in. When something is happening, the first thing is they shout at you, don't do this. And so for me, a lot of times when I didn't feel hurt or anything, I would just scream. I'll just like escalate the situation with my screams, and everyone is just like, girl, you need to fucking chill. And like that was always my first response. My first response was, I need to scream and shout so that you can hear all the things I have to say, and I didn't need to. But that was just an example of like the way that we're raised. It literally plays out into the adults that we become, the way we handle relationships and everything. Some people cannot communicate because their parents know to communicate to them. They were not communicating, they were fighting. It's gidigbo, it's beating, it's punishment, it's embarrassment. You don't even know how to say when something is hurting you. It's crazy. I think I'm going to wrap up this video now because the weather is actually telling me it's time to wrap up the video. My issue is never truly what they've done. Of course, what they've done is ill. It's usually the fact that they are unwilling to learn, the lack of accountability and the unwillingness to learn or change. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. With that said, I don't know if that means that I should just give up. I personally have given up. I watched a podcast, the Oddities podcast, Am I Too Loud? And she was talking with Donald. The both of them are Nigerian. He was talking about the guy. He was like, he feels indifferent. Like he doesn't want to change them. He doesn't need their approval. He's just like, they're my parents. And he was asking himself, like, is that a good way to feel about your parents? Is it? It's just the way that we've been forced to feel. We don't have a choice because you know that you cannot change them. They will not change. You cannot change anyone who is unwilling to change. It's kind of like a toxic relationship. And how can you change parents who have grown up with this particular mentality and they just think that they are right all the time? And I hate the fact that they always use to say, our tradition, our culture, our tradition, our culture. These things were created by man so they can be undone by man. You can choose to not follow it. They either use God or they use our culture as the reason why they are acting the way they act. You have a choice. You are choosing these things. Why do parents feel so helpless? Like, oh, God. In my journey with my parents and everything, I realized that the older you get, the more you have to parent your parents. To be able to exist and coexist in a space where you guys can be cordial, at least, you have to train them. Tell them, I'm not going to talk right now. I don't want to hang out with that family member. I will continue to do this activity even though you don't like this activity. I'm not talking about anything dangerous, okay? Please, hello, don't go and do something crazy. And you training them is you having boundaries, you standing on that freaking business. Okay, stand on the business. I just whitened my teeth. That's why I'm laughing like this. Because honestly, their lack of accountability or responsibility is disheartening. I had a conversation with my parents, and that day, after that conversation, I realized there will be no world where these people will understand me unless a miracle happens. And I am not looking for that miracle. The things that they were saying, it made me realize that it is a choice to not change because they want to maintain that power dynamic. Subconsciously, of course, because I remember we were having a conversation and I was like, people don't even acknowledge that you do some crazy things. Like, acknowledge it. Don't just sit me here and start coming at me, the both of you, trying to like emotionally manipulate me, talking about all the things you've done for me and all the blah, blah, blah. My sister, apologize, accountability, something. I need something, be accountable, something. The both of them were like, yeah, you want an adult to apologize to you. They were like, in life, people will offend you and you have to forgive them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not the most forgiving person. You feel me? And when they said that, I was like, okay. There's not. This is where I give up. Hey, now that I'm an adult, guys, I will never apologize again. If you hear an apology from my mouth, help me and slap my mouth, because apparently this is how my parents are. This is not to bash my parents. I'm just talking about my experiences with them. I will always appreciate the things that my family has done for me. Even though these experiences were unpleasant, I still appreciate them because that's why I'm the way that I am today. And I love the person that I am today. But like, it sucked. It's like, thank you for the lessons, but no, the trauma was a little. I think it's very important at the end of the day to give your parents grace because they don't understand. Stop trying to make them understand you. Stop trying to let them see your point or anything. Just say okay, because like it's just going to continue to fester. Say what you need to say because it just continues to build resentment. I realize now that I had a lot of resentment that have just like been gathering for years because I never got a chance to speak up. And now that I'm speaking, people are just like, shh, shut up, that never happened. It did. It's very complicated. It's very draining, but I need you to just choose your peace, choose your boundaries. If you need to move out, move out. If you need to be silent, stay silent. That is it for my rant. So I've ranted. Though, please let me know your thoughts, your feelings in the comments. So if you like us, please like this video and help us and subscribe. Oh, fine girl, you must subscribe. I say you must subscribe. I have put it to you. That is it for today's episode of Face Mask and Ameboooo. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you did. Let me know if you guys want me to talk about more things like this. Give me topics, ideas. I need ideas. If you want to share your own stories, make sure to send me a DM on TikTok. Put your comments down below, everything. I want to read. The reason why I'm having this conversation, and I have so many more conversations coming. Growing up, I never had any friends who would come to school and be like, this happened with me and my parents or anything. We were raised to keep things in the family. We were left with that burden, like that heavy burden of confusion, not understanding what is going on as a child. So many things are taboo in a Nigerian home, in an African home. We need to talk about them. How else will we find solution? We can't continue these cycles. We need to talk about these things that are happening. Speak up. Disappoint your parents today. Disappoint them today. Let them know you love them, but you are not them. And to all the firstborns out there, especially the firstborn daughters that had to carry the emotional weight of emotionally immature or emotionally unstable adults around her since you were a child, I see you. I love you. And you will get through this. Every single thing is preparing you for the great woman you were born to freaking be. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week ahead. I love you so much. And I'll see you same time, same place, right here on YouTube and TikTok. Bye.